welcome to Hort Americas TV. Today we will continue learning about how to control high temperature in our greenhouse. Summer is starting and we need to be prepared. Today's topic will be how to avoid greenhouse overheating. Last class we were learning about cooling capacity in greenhouses. In order to improve results from your cooling system, we first need to avoid overheating in our greenhouse. To avoid overheating, we first need to understand energy balance. Heat can be transferred in different ways, and if we want to control heat, we need to learn about the different forms of heat transfer. The most important ones for greenhouse management are radiation, convection, and conduction. So let's start with radiation. If we want to control radiation, we need to know there are two different types of radiation: shortwave radiation and long-wave radiation. One of the most important factors increasing greenhouse temperature during the summer is, of course, the sun. Shortwave radiation is the heat that we get from the sun. We know light is important for our crops. However, heat from the sun, it is not always something that we look for. When temperature goes up, usually light intensity and sometimes the hours of the day goes up too. By consequence, this also impacts DLI. So remember, DLI is the amount of light that plants get per day. If DLI goes up when temperature goes up during the summer, sounds like we can think about removing some light, right? Light can be removed from the greenhouse by using, for example, shade cloths. However, it's also important to calculate how much light can be removed without affecting plant growth. In order to do this, first you need to check DLI data from your growing area. If you have a light sensor, which I totally recommend to have, that is great. You can get a very accurate DLI from your sensor. This is an example of DLI in Tucson, Arizona in the whole year. If you still don't count with this technology, if you don't have a sensor, you can check the following webpage to check and get an idea of the DLI of your growing sun. Once you have DLI data, you need to check the recommended levels of DLI to keep normal growth in your crop. Let's try always to choose a shade cloth that can remove enough light and radiation, but without removing more than the recommended levels of DLI. Another great option is the use of removable shade paints with the technology to remove radiation from the light. This product can specifically reduce shortwave radiation without affecting a lot the entrance of light intensity. So this is great technology. You can find actually this product on a web page. So this is really great. Imagine you can remove the heat, but without removing that much light. So this is great. And you can use this in any kind or surface of the greenhouse like plastic or glass. Now let's move to long-wave radiation. Long-wave radiation is the heat emitted by particle charge from the ground. Depending on greenhouse covering material, we can keep long-wave radiation inside of the system. Plastic and glass usually help to maintain long-wave radiation inside of the greenhouse and promotes high temperature. This is why when your greenhouse is totally closed due to the covering material, we must have a cooling system to consume heat inside. Otherwise, the greenhouse temperature will tend to go up all the time. Another way of heat transmission is convection. Convection is the heat transfer by movement of gas from hot to cold. Convection is easier than radiation because it's the heat that we can move by ventilation. Fans inside a greenhouse can help you to move heat around the system. Vents and exhaust fans will help you to remove hot air from the greenhouse. It's very common to accumulate hot and humid air inside of a greenhouse because of radiation and also plant transpiration. Exhaust fans will be then a great tool to remove heat and humidity from inside of the system. This is very important also when using a cooling system. As we learned from the previous class, High humidity can affect cooling capacity, so exhaust fan can be very useful when trying to avoid overheating and also when looking to reduce greenhouse temperature in comparison to the outside. This is a good moment to remember that all technologies applied to avoid overheating will not reduce the temperature in comparison to the outside. For that, we use cooling system that is used to consume heat. However, avoiding overheating is super important to help you to optimize the conditions for your plants inside of the system. The last form of heat that we will cover is conduction. Conduction is the heat transfer between two different materials. Different greenhouse covering material will have a different heat transmission. When investing in technology to create ideal conditions inside of the greenhouse, the use of a material with lower conduction coefficient will allow you to keep desired temperature inside of the greenhouse. More when the outside temperature is significantly different from the conditions inside. For example, if you are investing in a cooling system and outside is super hot, it's better to have a material, a covering material of the greenhouse with a lower heat transmission. Otherwise, you will get the temperature from the outside to the inside more quickly. In conclusion, there are different aspects we should manage before even thinking in using a cooling system. If we avoid overheating of our greenhouse, we will be better prepared to reduce temperature. Remember always to check if you need a shade coat or a removable shading agent that can be applied to reduce heat from the sun. Promote also good ventilation inside of the greenhouse and implement the use of exhaust fan when required to replace humid and warm air with more dry and cooler air. Think which greenhouse covering can be the best to promote ideal temperature in your greenhouse. For example, in dry areas where cooling capacity is higher, polycarbonate, polyethylene greenhouse, or glass can be a good option to implement a cooling system with a wet wall and exhaust fans. Remember, the more you analyze all the variables, the more control you have over your system. Don't let the heat to interrupt your production window without first approaching all the management learned today. I hope you enjoyed the session. My name is Carla Garcia. I am Hort America's Technical Service. Please subscribe if you like this video and see you on the next one.